members in the gallery, members of the public. It's on, Mr. James. They can hear us. The media, I don't see them here, but in their absence, welcome to them. Maybe they're downstairs. Good morning to you all. But then I'm keeping this for last. The speaker has said he's going to keep you in the loop. And we need to welcome and greet our live stream viewers this morning. Now, President Mandela once said, "It always seems impossible until it is done." Now, with this being said, I want to congratulate the Department of Corporate Services, Councillor von Brander spearheading that, Councillor Noni there as well, for excellent work that they have done, for the fact that we can pilot today live streaming our council meeting. I am not sure, this is a first for George, but is it the first in the Western Cape? First in the Western Cape that we have, not in the country.
I haven't seen everything in the country.
So, let's take that as well, that this is the first in the country. So I think we can give them a round of applause. Thank you. Job well done. I need to say we are not live. We are a little bit delayed. Why? Because we need 100 subscribers on this site here on YouTube. We don't want you just to go and like the page and press the thumbs up. We want you to subscribe. So if we get 100 subscriptions, then we go real live. So now we are a little bit delayed. It's been recorded and then uploaded, but people can still live streaming it, just a little bit delayed. This is what is happening today. But this is a first, and thank you very, very much for everyone involved with this project. Thank you very, very much for that.
Maya, I don't want to interrupt you, but Councillor Barnard seems to be...
Speaker, I'm totally out of line, I know, but seems as though this is so special. Shouldn't we all grab our phones and subscribe quickly before the Mayor goes on with his speech? And if we don't know how, then we can ask somebody to assist us quickly, because I think this is a great achievement for George.
Whilst I'm busy with my mail address, you can continue with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is
live. There is more than...
I can hear you here on the phone. So, there you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya.
We can put up your sound now, please. I want to continue. Once again, thank you to everyone involved. Thank you, Councillor Jackie, for that, Councillor Noni. And Mr. James, thank you for leading the department. Another big thank you to everyone that was involved with last Saturday's OCC event. Taken into account all the challenges we faced, it seemed impossible that the OCC would take place this year. But thank you to the team, the organizing team, and all the sponsors and all the many volunteers that ensured that the success of this event was assured. I've made a commitment that next year we will have a week of events for people with disabilities, and I asked Councillor Sean to take the lead there, and he must then get on board together with the organizing committee so that we can have a whole week of events leading up to the OCC of 2020. But once again, thank you very, very much for everyone that was involved so that we can pull off this year's event. Speaker, then I want to congratulate Tembaletu Primary School, who have came out tops at the Eden and Central Karoo District National Teachers Award held in Oudtshoorn recently. Teacher Mtunzi Ngwane won the category Technology Enhanced Teaching and Learning, while Nomsa Charlie won an Excellence Award for Primary School Teaching. So I want to say well done to these teachers. I think we can give them a round of applause. It is not easy to be a teacher nowadays, and the challenges that they are encountering, and what they've achieved here is a job Well done. I also need to acknowledge that recently we had the IERM International, that is the International Environmental Recreational Management Conference that took place less than 2 weeks ago. This event made us realize the importance of preserving our parks and gardens that we have in our city. And just listening to all the delegates that came from all over the country and what they've shared with us and what is happening in other cities make me realize that we have to preserve our parks and gardens that we have here. And I want to take into account here the initiative that was taken to plant 100 trees in Rosedale, for example, poses a challenge now to us as municipality to look after that park, Councillor Busak, and show intent that we want to preserve that. So it's important, Councillor Deputy Clerk, that we from the environmental side put all measures in place that we can enhance the preservation of the parks that we have in our city. I'm also very glad to report that the long-awaiting shopping center for Pakkelsdorp have started. We've seen the groundbreaking work that have taken place. The people are on the site, and I'm very excited that this is going to bring a much welcomed relief for the unemployment rate that is there in the vicinity for the people of Pakkelsdorp. So I'm looking forward to see what is going to unfold there. And it has been reported to me that this project will be completed next year in October. So I'm looking forward to see that. And I wish everyone involved with the project success with the development, and especially for the people of Pakkelsdorp in that area. Colleagues, we are also facing a few challenges in our effort to deliver basic quality services. Councillors, illegal dumping is costing us a lot. And I mean a lot. Yesterday, we had an education and awareness drive on illegal dumping in the Pakkelsdorp area, especially in Newton Park yesterday morning. And the program is set out, there's a program that was set out by the Department of Environmental Services where the program will be rolled out over the next few weeks. So if you are available, please join the colleagues in the effort to educate on illegal dumping and promote the initiative of recycling. Another disturbing and dangerous practice that we've noticed yesterday was the illegal electricity connections that is currently taking place in our city. And I mean, councillors, this is very, very dangerous. What we've seen yesterday, we visited Pakkelsdorp and then through Thembaletu, and it's scary to see the danger it poses for these illegal connections. I'm thinking of the lives, and we are very lucky that we have not lost quite a lot of lives. If there's something on, oh, there's just something, that is just some of the areas that goes up, but forget about the structures that goes up. For me, it's the illegal connections that is dangerous, and it's endangering the lives of our people out there, especially if you see the children that plays around there. So I'm begging you, when you engage with your constituencies in your wards, with the people there, please ask them to refrain from illegal connections. This is dangerous. Please, colleagues, I'm begging you. Mr. Botha, and this brings me now that we must also make use to communicate what we are trying to do through all our structures that we have. And one structure that I think we underutilize is the ward committees. It has been reported to me that the ward committees need support to function optimally. It is important that ward committees function because this is the structure through which citizens can participate fully in the decisions that affect them at local government level. And I'm sorry to report that recently I had a visit from the provincial department actually complaining that the wards in George Municipality are not reporting as they're supposed to. Last week Thursday it was reported to me by our office here that only 9 out of 27 wards have submitted ward operational plans to the provincial department as requested by them. 4 wards' plans was sent back due to incompleteness. Ward plans was sent to 9 wards for completion. None of these was received back. 5 wards' plans are still outstanding from our area coordinators. Please, ward councillors, this is important for us. We are being tracked and we are being weighed up in provincial government, so we have a part to play here. And out of the 27 wards, 1 ward is inactive due to not enough members, and 1 ward, and this is the sad part, Mr. Botha, 1 ward have stopped to have ward committee meetings due to no feedback from the departments or insufficient feedback. Every time the same information that is coming back. There's no progression being made on issues identified by the community. So this is something, Mr. Botha, if I can please call on you to see that the section responsible for ward committees get the necessary support to ensure that we have functional ward committees. Speaker, can I request that you make provision that we have at least a quarterly report on ward committees in our council agendas going forward from now on, so that we can be aware of what is being requested from ward committees and that we can address it here as council as well. Speaker, the raising of the Gardnerwood Dam wall at the Gardnerwood Dam is progressing very well, and we expect the contractor to finish in December, as was planned, Mr. Wessel, in December. However, we need to remind the public that unauthorized access is strictly prohibited to ensure the safety of the public. It was reported that we had already 1 injury to a cyclist who cycled in a no-go area. There are big trucks and tractors and stuff moving around there, so please, a request to the public not to enter the premises unauthorized. Speaker, last weekend, and this is where I want to thank the Human Settlement Section's personnel, Mr. Libber, that you worked over the past weekend to update information of citizens. We have a record number of 3,290 visits to the various centers over the weekend. 1,325 updated their details, 897 newly registered, and 1,068 verified existing information. It has been reported that the housing projects in Rosedale and Metro Grounds, where the civil works is going on, are progressing well. Mr. Libber, that is what I've got here. But then on the other end, we have at Golden Valley, the project was a little bit delayed due to the contractor that moved off site. That is what was being reported to me, and this is, but I know that the Human Settlement Section is in close consultation with the provincial department to rectify the situation. Speaker, then one thing I'd like to address, something we often not keep track of, and that is the rapid rate our cemeteries are getting, what is the word now?
Vandalized.
Except vandalized. Full. I visited Monday a few cemeteries, and that's a big challenge that is posing this municipality. It's not going to be very long, then there will be no more space. Especially in this cemetery, we've been in the one way back at the back of Pakkelsdorp. If you see where people are started squatting now, it's almost onto the boundary of the cemetery. And this is why I would like to call on the department deputy that you make provision to see and start talking that we look for alternative land where we can extend our cemeteries to. This is a last resting place, and we need to see that, and we don't know when it might be our turn to get there, and whether there will be space for us to do that. So, please, can we do that, Mr. Botha, and see that we have to comply according to legislation? I'm not sure if it was 500 meters from the boundary of residential areas, and we're moving fast. We're moving there, especially here in the York Street Cemetery. Speaker, I was requested by some councillors not to be long because some of them wants to go on because it's recess and they want to move early, so I don't know, so I'm going to try and regress here. Then I'm very sad to say that today we actually have to say goodbye to one of our officials. JP is going back to Swellendam. JP have resigned, but it's only due to his family that comes first. And JP, at this stage I want to say thank you very, very much for your input and your contribution that you have made throughout this past 3 months. It was excellent to have you here, to learn from you, the strategies that you have put in place, and we will work on that. And thank you now for passing the baton over to Cheryl so long in the meantime, but thank you very much, and I wish you well on your journey going forward. Can we give JP a hand, please? Speaker has said I was asked not to be long, and I want to conclude. It is no secret that George Municipality have been in the news for quite some time now, not for all the right reasons. But personally, throughout all of this, I'm still hopeful that we can still and will rise above the storm. Yes, we have many challenges, and we've talked and debated a lot about some burning issues. However, I believe the way to get started is to quit talking and begin to do something. There's lots to do. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity, but the optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. I'm of the opinion we learn from our mistakes or failures, then more than from our successes, and we must not let our mistakes or failures stop us, because through this our character is being built much stronger. Councillors, the work that we are in is very challenging, and sometimes with all the negativity that you might receive, you might feel down and sometimes out, and you ask yourselves, is this worth the while to be here? I want to ask you, all of you, not even to think about quitting, and I want to close with this, and I want you to remember the words of Maya Angelou when she said, we may encounter many defeats, but we must never be defeated. I still believe the best is yet to come for George Municipality. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Mayor. While the Mayor is taking his seat, I neglected to welcome Mr. Christo Lamprecht from the Audit Committee, who is with us. Welcome, Mr. Lamprecht. His son, by the way, was just selected for the international team for the President's Cup. Congratulations on that as well. The junior international golf team. We move to the replies. The ANC speaks first. You have 5 minutes, Councillor Jantjies Guzman.
Good morning, Councillors.
Good morning,
thank you, Speaker. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your speech. Mr. Mayor, I'll start by the Parkersdorp Shopping Center. The Parkersdorp Shopping Center, I am afraid it will tend to be a tamaleji because we have councillors representing us, or I don't know whom they're representing, as what's that word? As developers and consultants. So I am worried about that. because we have seen a presentation to the developers.
Councillor Yankees.
No, I'm replicating. It is on the mayor's speech. The mayor spoke about this. The mayor spoke about this, I'm replicating. So,
You are basing what you're saying on a very, very incorrect assumption, but you can proceed.
Speaker, can you just take a chill pill and relax, please?
Please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. So I'm worried about that. I'm saying that I'm worried about that because we have councillors who are consultants. I don't know on whose behalf or on whose mandate are they doing it. Maybe I'll be corrected by you, Speaker, as to say they are doing it on our behalf. I don't know, because you seem to know about this thing that I'm talking about. Illegal dumping, Mr. Mayor, it is a problem. And I have seen the environmental department doing something about it at Allbricks. It worked because we had a dumping problem in Allbricks, and there's a park there that they did in Allbricks, and that park did help. So I think if we took the same approach to all the other areas, that will help us. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have a problem on that one. And also the illegal electricity connection. It does not start with electricity, Mr. Mayor. It starts with land invasion first. And if we let it be, if we let people invade land and do nothing about it, when they get in that land, they want services. And the municipality is not capable or does not have sufficient funds to service those people, then they will go for electricity illegally. So we need to correct that first. We need to begin in the beginning, because the beginning is the illegal squatting, and then the electricity follows. So let's start there, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I'm very lenient with you today. You know, most I don't fight with you. I always go to the points. Mr. Mayor, you talked about cemetery. I think on that one, in this municipality, I think it's the only municipality that I know that don't have grave numbers. When you have put your beloved one in the grave for 10 years, and you come to the municipality so that we want to put up a tombstone because you did not have money to put a tombstone at the same day, and then you come to the municipality does not have a record for your grave number. So I think in this new cemetery place that you are looking for, we must start by having grave numbering so that people can come to the municipality. There should be records of those so that people can come here and get numbers of those graves so that they can put up tombstones when they are well financed to put it up. Mr. Mayor, you reminded me of, you said you'll rise again. And we might be in the stumble today, but we'll rise again. That reminds me of a song by Benjamin that says, I'll rise again because he rose again. Mr. Mayor, I'm worried a bit. I'm a bit worried. I am worried because when you steer a ship with rats in it, in the first sight of danger, the rats will jump the ship and you will remain alone in that ship. So, Mr. Mayor, can I be protected here, Speaker? Yeah. Mr. Mayor, let me give you some words of wisdom or encouragement. Jesus Christ in his journey needed Judas Iscariot, so that he can fulfill the mandate that he was sent for here. So, Mr. Mayor, I'm saying that don't be afraid or don't be discouraged by sitting with the Judas Iscariot in your presence, because, Mr. Mayor, you are destined to do something, and for doing that you need someone to sell you out so that you can get to the destination. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Yankis Guzman. Next to speak is the PBI. Order. Councillors, thank you. Next to speak is the PBI, Councillor Giereke. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, everybody. Mr. Speaker, I was particularly touched by the word of the Minister, of the word of God this morning, when he said, we did not arrive. You don't arrive unless we arrive.
Yes.
This has been the trend, the tendency in this council all the time, that some people want to arrive alone. They want to take the credit and they forget about the collective. It's for many years it's ongoing like this. We've just heard now that there was an outreach yesterday with regard to the garbage in Newton Park and so on. We didn't receive any notices. We could have been on that trip as well. Whereas you may laugh, Deputy Mayor, but that is important to us. If we can also pull our weight and lend a hand, we've been ignored for so long. And you know, when you try to pull alone, you pull the uneven yoke, and you're going to burn out one time or the other, sometime or the other. You cannot stand and pull the uneven yoke all the time. Mr. Mayor, I am dealing in your excitement with regard to the Mall of Packersdorp. And I take serious cognizance of what colleague Councillor Guzman is saying with regard to the allegations against certain councillors. I submit a serious and passionate plea in this council this morning that we sort out all the allegations around councillors, allegations against certain councillors, that we sort this out, that we clear the air, so that this development goes on unhindered. Because we need the development, we need the jobs, we need the investment, and we need the opportunities. I am seriously asking that we receive a report in this council ASAP with regards to the councillors that are being implicated. And I'm not implying that anybody is guilty. I'm saying let us just receive a report so that we clear the air in this regard. There's nothing involved, obviously, if anybody is involved in any type of business, but it has to be declared, and we've got to know about this as a council. Mr. Mayor, I am also reminded of the song, since Councillor Guzman was talking about the song. There is a song that says, as easy as a Sunday morning. I am as easy as a Sunday morning this morning. I just have one outstanding issue with regard to the human settlements that you have alluded to. The update of the waiting list and people standing long queues and so on. And I want to say this morning that this is not what George is needing at the moment, continuous updates of housing waiting lists. Our people have been doing this for ages now. And since they've updated that list, has grown to 20,000 families, and nothing has happened. The update doesn't make a dent in this. And therefore I want to ask you, let us not play politics with housing opportunities and with the opportunities of people. They need the houses, they need accommodation. And therefore we have, as a PBI, we have submitted a motion in this council to call a workshop with all the experts with regard to the housing challenges and so on. I am actually astounded that we've received late last night an invitation or a reminder of the date of the 17th of October, where the summit will be. I'm astounded that you did not announce it this morning. And that is in response of the motion that the PBI has submitted. Yes, you may laugh, sir. Here is the actual item that was supposed to serve in today's council, but because of certain people in this council playing politics with housing opportunities, let me read you the preamble of this motion. It says, to report back on the motion in council to determine what will happen to persons who do not qualify for a housing subsidy within current and future housing projects in George. It should be part of the agenda. I'm fully updated, although I'm not here every day. I'm fully updated. I have my sources inside. Don't you worry. So, we were supposed to be updated today on that housing summit coming down. I see now that the DAMEC for Human Settlement, Tertius Simmers, is trying to hijack this opportunity. But we've got news for him. Let him come that day. I will show you. We've got news for him. This is an initiative by George, by this council, and by this municipality on a motion that the PBI has served, and this council has agreed. It's got nothing to do with the provincial government. It's got to do with this council that we're asking that we work a way forward in terms of the housing challenges that we face in the city. And so, Mr. Speaker, I'm closing. I want to wish you well, everybody, not just the mayor. You have encouraged us. I also want to encourage you, sir, stand firm in this calling and on the way that you're taking this council. Thank you, Mr. Charlie Williams.
Thank you, Councillor Giereke. Next to speak is Ikoza. You have 5 minutes, Councillor Harris.
Thank you very much, Mr. Virgil. We need God's wisdom to take this town forward.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, yes. For the benefit of all who stays in George. Dankie, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, gaan op 'n ligter noot begin. Ek wil net die twee spanne wat die naweek die finale gaan speel op die Oud en die Kwapark 'n sterkte toewens. Dis die Crusaders en dis Evergreens, die
Mr.
Bullepak
Speaker,
mekaar.
just on a point of order, please. That was not part of the mayor's...
You are out of order. En baie dankie vir die sportafdeling van George Municipaliteit wat hulle werk gestand gedoen het deur die jaar om ons velde in stand te hou en sovoorts. En baie dankie Mr. Meyer dat die manne gekyk het na ons goed. Dan ek wil net reageer. Jy het gepraat van die probleme van onwettige aansluitings. 'n Ander probleem wat ek graag ook wil uitwys is die pittoilette wat nog in gebruik is in George. En ons sien wat gebeur het nou die afgelope tyd. Dit neem die mense in plakkerskamp en waar dit ook al verskyn, se menswaardigheid weg. Dit maak hulle minder waardig en dit skend hulle menseregte. So ons doen 'n beroep op die George Municipaliteit en die burgemeester in die besonder om toe te sien dat ons totaal al die pittoiletstelsel elimineer. Ons kan nie die mense se regte skend nie. Ons moet toesien dat hulle regte geëerbiedig word en dat hulle regte toilets van voorsien word.
Councillor Harris, can you just move your mic a little bit closer to you? Thank you.
Dan 'n ander aspek wat ek net graag wil highlight ter afsluiting is dat die seisoen is op hande, misdaad neem toe gedurende die feestyd. Ons doen 'n beroep op die meier dat ons regtig ware misdaadplan moet in plek sit om te verhoed dat misdaad toeneem tot en met die feestyd, want dit sal ons ekonomie affekteer as toerisme. Of toeriste die na George toe kom nie. So ons vra dat daar gesit word met die verskillende strukture daar buite, die CPF, die buurtwag, die polisie en ander rolspelers om gesamentlike plan uit te werk en dat die raadslede wat verantwoordelik is om by die CPF te dien, dat hulle asseblief hulle pligte nakom en laat hulle gaan insit en hoor en luister na die klagtes van die publiek daar buite en die polisie. Hulle sê dan die ander ding ten opsigte van behuising, dit is so dat dit 'n tabaleetjie is, maar ons vra en doen 'n beroep dat sou dit voorkom dat die minister nou ewe skielik kom politiek speel, dat dit gestop sal word. Lindiwe Sisulu, die nasionale minister, is ook op pad George toe om ondersoek te kom doen ten opsigte van die behuising kwessie in George en die probleme wat geondervind word. En ons sal ook vir haar toespreek rondom die probleme wat ons ondervind by die behuisingsafdeling. Ek dank u, Mr. Speaker. Ek praat nie meer baie vandag. Ek gaan stil bly nou.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. One moment. I'm going to give the MM a moment to respond.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to make a
Point of
correction
order.
about what...
Point of order.
Alderman
Point of
Dragman.
order.
Thank Thank you, Alderman. Mr. Botha, I will provide you opportunity later on. Thank you. Next to speak is the EFF, Councillor Kama. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Speaker. Firstly, Mr. Mayor, on behalf of the EFF, we are finally glad that the shopping center in Pakastorp finally is in progress after such a long time. And we are also happy that the community of Pakastorp will benefit from this project. We don't know the issues why it delayed it, but we are happy that again it started working. On the issue of illegal dumpings, I think we mentioned this before in your memorial address on the 22nd of August. And as a council, we also told you that on either for us to make this right, we should put the wheelie bins on those places whereby we notice the illegal dumpings. Ever since then, nothing yet has been happened. And on the issue of illegal connections, I agree with the Speaker of the ANC that the service delivery should be given, especially those informal settlements. Otherwise, these things of illegal resettlement will never stop. Let's give them the service delivery on those informal settlements so that we can also end this thing. Mr. Mayor, also support the request regarding the Quota Reward Committee's report. It will work well on our communities, and also the progress on what is happening at the George Dam. I also really agree with that. We thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kama. Next to speak is the SAC, Alderman Dragwende. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you for the opportunity, Honourable Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for rendering the mayoral speech today. I also want to congratulate our corporate committee for the implementation of this line stream that the viewers kan nou kyk. Dit is 'n baie groot voordeel vir George, maar dit kan ook 'n nadeel wees. And then about the OCC, I'm very much proud that there will be now a week of activities because we have to honor Esther Watson's legacy. It was a legacy of Esther Watson. Ons kan nie daar verbygaan nie. Ons moet dit altyd onthou. Then I also want to congratulate for Tebaletu schools. Well done. Now the mayor talked about the gardens and the parks in the city that we must uphold. Now I want to know from him, if he talk about the city, is it each and every ward in the city of George? If so, then why is all the people working in the other wards is removed and only the people who pick up papers and stuff like that, dirt in the street, is only in town and not in our areas? I know we can't answer now, but I will write him a letter that he can respond on these things. Dan, die ANC het gepraat van die ontwikkeling in Pakkelsdorp en Councillor Virgil het ook gepraat. En ja, indien daar sou raadslede betrokke word, moet ons vra vir 'n deeglike ondersoek. En na die volgende raadsvergadering om dan hierdie die stories wat daar buite rondloop om dit te sis. Ons praat, die meier het gepraat van onwettige storting, illegal dumping. According to my knowledge and about the budget I have in my hand is 2 million, some 2 point something million. It's allocated from the equitable share to the Department of Environmental Affairs for this illegal dumping. Who is currently eating this 2 million rand? Yes. Who is eating that? Because somebody eat that 2 million, and I want to know who's eating that. I will also write a letter to the department, to the director, Mr. Walter Hendricks, and then he must please explain. Now, Mr. Mayor, about the cemetery. We talked long time ago, we talk about the cemeteries. is not today the first time that we talk about cemeteries, yet not any land is identified for the cemeteries. U het niks gesê van Mr. Goosen was weggesien. Mr. Goosen left the end of August en ons gun hom die rus wat hom toekom. Dan ek het gesien Alman haal aan 'n teks uit die Bybel uit wanneer hulle afsluit. Mr. Meyer, I just want to tell you, when you ask Jesus, Lord, what about all the storms around me? Then the Lord answer, die rede hoekom ek jou die storm op jou pad sit, want ek weet jou vyand kan nie swem nie. Dankie.
Thank you, Alderman Drachmaner. Order. Order. Thank you. Next to speak is the ACDP, Councillor De Tooy. You have 5 minutes.
Baie dankie, Speaker. Ek het gehoor ook van die rotte wat op die skip is. Toe sê iemand ons het redheks. Maar ek het nuus, al maak jy die rotte dood, as die skip sink, gaan hy sink. Want ek wil sommer ook aanhaal, daar is 'n skrywer wat sê, 'n boom sal aan sy vrugte geken word. En wanneer ons na die vrugte kyk,
Order, please.
dan weet ons wat se boom is dit. 'n Doringboom kan nie vye dra nie. En 'n vyeboom kan nie druiwe dra nie. So die vrugte wat gelewer word, weet ons presies wat is die aard daarvan. En laat ons krediet gee waar krediet moet kom. Namens die ACDP speaker.
Councillors, can we have one speaker, please? Thank you. Please
Speaker,
continue.
namens die ACDP wil ons raadslid Jackie van Brandes en haar span baie geluk wens met hierdie saak wat sy die livestreaming gedoen het. So, nou kan ons publiek sien wat gaan aan in ons raadsale. Hulle kan hoor hoe pleit ons vir hulle. Hulle kan hoor wat ons ding op die tafel sit en die vrae wat gevra word. So, hulle hoef nou nie meer in duisternis gehou word. So, ons waardeer wat die pers doen, maar die pers kan ook nie alles weergee wat hier gebeur nie. So baie dankie raadslid van Brandes vir 'n eerste in Suid-Afrika. Ek glo so dit stel ons weer heel voor. Ek weet nie of ons die eerste is nie, ek neem maar so aan. En dan ook die shopping center in Pakkelsdorp. Speaker, ek dink dit gaan vir die inwoners van Pakkelsdorp as daardie sentrum daar is, gaan dit vir hulle baie beteken. Dan hoef hulle nie ver te ry om ook goed teen billike pryse te kan bekom nie. Maar wat die PBA en raadsdame Draghoener nou uitgelig het, daar moontlik is dat raadslede daarby betrokke is in raadgewende hoedanighede. Ek weet nie, kan ons dit ondersoek? ACDP vra ook baie dringend dat ons dit sal ondersoek en dat ons al die vrae uit die weg uitruim. En dan die illegal dumping. Speaker, ons weet waar word hierdie goed gedamp. Kan ons nie iemand daar plaas en monitor en sien wie dit is? Gee daai persoon 'n kamera. Laat hy dit afneem, dat hy die voertuigsregistrasienommer afneem, want dan weet ons mos wie die skuldig is. Dis so maklik soos val uit 'n boom. Dat ons hierdie ding kan hokslaan. As ons nie daadwerklik gaan optree nie, Speaker, gaan hierdie dinge net aanhou en aanhou en aanhou. Die ongemagtigde kragaansluitings, ons praat nou al hoe lank daaroor. As jy party van hierdie neersettings ry, dan sien dit lyk soos 'n sprinkelwebbe, soos die drade van die pale afgaan. En weer eens, as daar nie daadwerklik opgetree word nie, Speaker, dan gaan ons oor 10 jaar nog daaroor praat as ons niks doen nie. Baie dankie daarvoor. En dan, ek sien ook dat die verhoging van die dampwal, die kontrakteur wat daar werk, lyk my, hy is heel op pas. En ek wil ook vir ons amptenare daar 'n pluimpie gee wat toesig hou en kyk dat die werk gedoen word en reg gedoen word uit foto's wat ek gesien het. Ek was self nie daar nie. Dit lyk vir my dit word op 'n baie mooi en 'n goeie ja. En dan wil ek afsluit. Speaker. Ongeveer 'n jaar gelede het die ACDP 'n dringende mosie ingedien in verband met die banier. George honors the Lord God Almighty. Die banier was opgesit en ongeveer vir 'n halfuur gehang toe sy afgehaal, omdat daar volgens nie aan die standaarde voldoen is nie. Toe is daar gesê die banier sal reggemaak word en hy sal weer opgehaal word, want dit was 'n eenparige raadsbesluit. Nou wil ek die vraag vra, waar is die probleem dat ons in 'n jaar se tyd nog nie die probleem kon oplos en dat hierdie banier oor George sal pryk, want ons wil aan God die eer gee dat hy ons stad bewaar het van groot skade en oneindige hartseer toe die brande hier was en daar nie in George huise afgebrand het nie. Baie dankie, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor De Tooy. Next to speak is the AIC, Councillor Mkondu. 5 minutes.
Nkosi Somlomo. Ndiyabulela ngelithuba, ndibulisa wonke umuntu olapha endlini torho. Ngizawuthetha isiXhosa nami. Somlomo iyelo nto ifunekayo apha. Xa ningakwazi ukubakhupha abantu ezindaweni zabo, kufuneka nenze sure into yoba amalungelo okanye izidingo zabo ziyafezekiseka. Kunzima ke ngoko ukulawula le meko yokubiwa kombane ngaba bantu, and siyayazi leli bhunga into yoba umbane yeyona nto sisenza ingeniso, eyona yenza ingeniso enkulu apha kule dolophu. Icebo elilula linye, into yoba apho kuthe kwabonwa khona abantu besiba umbane kufanelekile into yoba bafakelwe imeters ukwenzela into yoba bakwazi ukucontribute kule meko yalapha, ngoba ngoku ngale ndlela yenzekayo ngayo izinto siyalahlekelwa Somlomo, izimali ebesifuma ziyangena ngalombane. Kuyafuneka ke ndiyambulela usodolophu namhlanje, at least ispeech sakhe besipositive, ingakumbi kulamba wabantwana botishala abathe bagqwesa, ngoba laa nto ithi iGeorge noko inekamva. Abantwana bethu noko sinethembe lento bawuthi phaa phambili babe ngabantu abazawuthi bathathe over apha kuthi xa sisimuka kwezi ndawo sikuzo. Umba wamangcwaba wona ayiyonto yalapha eGeorge qha kuphela, kuyafiwa zonke indawo. Sinengxaki enkulu ke Somlomo into yoba ke ngoku kufuneka abantu befundisiwe into yoba kufuneka kujikwe indlela le abantu bangcwatywa ngayo, bangcwatywe bemisiwe ukwenzela basikwazi ukucutha umhlaba, okanye batshiswe. Kufuneka sizame into yoba it's not a laughing stock. Ningahleka nje kodwa abantu kufuneka ngoku bafundiswe into yoba ukucutha umhlaba funeka iibhoksi zimiswe zingalaliswa. And kufuneka abantu bafundiswe into yoba ukutshiswa yeyona nto ilungileyo izawubangela into yoba singagqibi umhlaba, ngoba laa nto amathambo azawuvuka azawuthini ayisusinceda nto abantu bakuthi. Soze sipokrelwe nix qabani. Umuntu ofileyo akanawuphinda abuye azosibuza uba kutheni simngcwabe sonje, ngoba thina silungiselela into yoba umhlaba lungapheli qha lapha kum ninditshise. Nix andikhathaleli uba mXhosa silungiselela imeko le ngoku. Imeko ithi ngoku masilungiselele into yoba singaphelelwa ngumhlaba qha wokungcwaba. Ngaloo mazwi ndiyabulela torho Somlomo. Enkosi.
Thank you, Councillor Mkondu. Next to speak is the Freedom Front Plus. Order, 1 moment please. Councillor van die Kerk, 1 moment.
Point of information, Speaker, can I get a translation, Speaker, because this doesn't work.
Mr. Joseph, Councillor van der Hoofen's headphones don't seem to be working. 1 moment please.
Speaker.
Kan ons jou headphones gebruik? Kan ons jou headphones gebruik? Mr. Joseph, can we in the meantime use Mr. van Skalkwyk's headphones? We must try and establish whether it's a headphone problem or a different problem. I trust that it will be working now. Is the activity on your headphones? Councillor Gultik? Is it working now? Thank you, Councillor van der Hoofen. Councillor van Niekerk, Freedom Front Plus, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Speaker. Through you to the Mayor. Mr. Mayor, it was great to sit here and listen to you this morning, especially regarding the achievements that was reached lately in George. The OCC event was marvelous, and everybody involved there should be proud on themselves. Then there's the School of Tembaletu. It's nice to hear them perform. The new shopping center is also, it's great for the expanding of George. The Garden Route Dam that's reaching its final stages, also quite exciting. Challenges, yes, there are the challenges that needs to be addressed. And the first one is the shopping center, what we've heard here this morning, Mr. Mayor, whether it's true or not, please, I don't think George needs another Nelson Mandela Drive or one of those. Let's maintain a hands-on approach, and let's make sure that this shopping center can be a flagship, not something of shame. Another challenge is illegal dumping, electricity connections, and we can add on the blocked sewage lines within housing areas and so on.
Speaker, a point of information, please, man.
Order, Alderman Draghoene.
Advocaat van Niekerk maakt nou elke keer melding van die Nelson Mandela Drive. Wat van die Caledon Street? Hij moet ook bijgevoegd worden.
Order.
Dank u.
Alderman, please, sorry, Councillor van Niekerk,
Mr. Speaker, I did say, and the others, that's including everything that was questioned. Merriman Street, Caledon Street, doesn't matter where we look. They are all included. She must just listen. Then, the ideals would appear if we can get the community on our side to prevent this illegal dumping, to prevent the illegal connections of electricity. But that is a task on its own. As far as the ward committees you referred to, I believe that is a management process. It should be managed properly, and we won't have a problem. As far as the graveyards, Mr. Mayor, I trust you didn't use your GPS to get there, because it's quite awkward to hear from a strange voice you've reached your destination when you got there. Anyhow, be that as it may, I believe there are long-term, medium-term processes in place in George, and it should just be included there. Then lastly, second to last, Mr. Mayor, I do agree that we are too many times in the news for the wrong reasons. That must stop. We must work together. We don't want hawks on our premises. We don't want Western Cape people snooping around in offices. We don't want to see witch hunts against each other. But then each and every one of us must remember the oath that we have taken to always act in the best interest of George and the taxpayers of George. And we must do it. We must not overstep the line. All we need and all we want is transparent governance, clear governance for George and the people of George. Then, Mr. Mayor, just to end off, last time you were quite eager to tell us about DA performances. Congratulations to the DA for winning Ward 14 in Saldanha yesterday. But then also, congratulations to the Freedom Front, taking Ward 2 in Potchefstroom from the DA, becoming the official opposition in Kuruman,
Amen.
and the ANC for taking Cederberg.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Amen.
Thank you, Councillor Vanika. Last to speak is the DA, 5 minutes. Order. Councillor Cornelius, you have 5 minutes.
Goeiemorgen, Mr. Speaker.
Order, please. Order. Thank you.
Ek kan nie sien jou repliek lewer. Ek wil ook geluk sê aan die corporate services team vir livestream.
Can we just have translation, please? Thank you. Please proceed.
Okay. Ons was ook by die OCC event gewees. En ek wil ook vra dat ons versoon ons samenwerking gee met die 1 week sy events wat hy moet beplan. Ons wil ook geluk sê aan die teachers van die primary school in Tembaleto vir die rewards. Dankie meester Meyer, jy hulle acknowledge aan jou speech. En vir die bome wat geplant is in Rousdale wil ek sê, vir Raadslid Boesa, dat my boom staan ook daarom nog by die amphitheater wat ek 10 jaar gelede al geplant het. Die beeste daarom nie alles opgevreet het. Ek wil ook dankie sê vir die mall wat kom in Takkelsdorp. Dit is ook 'n lang verwagte mall. Dit was nog in die tyd van Raadslid Aris, wat ons daar en Raadslid Ramas, wat ons die eerste daar die, wat noem mense, die sweespit gedoen het. Die 2 dae gespit het. Ek is ook bly vir die meier, wat onze challenges noem, in hierdie raad. Ons steek het nie weg nie. Ons is ook nie stil daaroor nie. Wanneer dat kom by die illegal dumping, die illegal elektrische kragaansluitings. Ons is bewus van hierdie dinge dat het aangaan. Ons is ook bly dat die meier ons op die vingerstuk wanneer dit kom by ons woordkomitees. As vyfraadslid val ons in ons skuld oor ons operational plans wat nog nie in is, Mr. Meyer. Ons gaan ons beste probeer. Ons is ook bly vir die damwal, wat ook so lank al aankom. En ons is bly dat die damwal nou so ver is, dat het daarom al, weet nie wanneer dit sal klaar wees nie, maar het daarom daar een aanvang geneem het. Ons is bly vir die behuisingsdepartement, vir die naweek wat verby is. Want om mense te kry, om te kom registreer op die databasis, dat al daarom die stress van ons as raadslede af. Want mense vra vir ons as raadslede, is ons nog op die waglys? So ons is bly, en ons vra dat sulke projekte deur die wijkraadslede moet ondersteun word in die verskillende wijke en hulle constituencies. Wat die begrafplaatse betref, Mr. Meyer, is lang overdue. En ons moet nou waarlik waar ons hand op die pols beginne bou, want dit is nog net 'n paar maande, dan is die begrafplaas voor. Ek het elke dag daaroor, En dan sien ek dat die begrafplaas gaan dit nie nog 'n jaar miskien maak nie. Mr. Meyer, baie dankie vir jou speech. En ek wil sê, geniet jou vakansie wat voor lê. En so ook iedereen, ja. En JP, dankie vir jou, dat ons jou kon geken het in hierdie tyd. En welkom, Mr. Hendrik. Ons hoop het gaan jou goed weer vorentoe. Dankie, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Cornelius. That wraps up item 2. We move to item 3, applications. Sorry? Kan ons dit nie onder discussion of the speaker doen? Okay. We move to item 3 on the agenda for today, applications for leave of absence. Mr. Botha.
Thank you, Speaker. I haven't received any applications for leave of absence from councillors. Thank you, Speaker.
Councillor Issa did apologize. Let's, just for the record, Councillor Issa did apologize. Sorry for not conveying that to the MM. Is that all, Chief Whip? Thank you. Item 4, official notices. There are none. Item 5, disclosure of interest by councillors. Item 5 of the Code of Conduct for councillors. And disclosure of benefits by municipal staff members. Item 5 of the Code of Conduct for municipal staff members. There are none. The list of deferred items. Item 6, there's none. We move to item 7, minutes of the previous meetings. Item 7.1, minutes of an ordinary council held on the 22nd of August 2019. Proposal. Councillor Strubel, seconded by Councillor von Brandes. Thank you. Item 8, minutes of the executive, mayor and committee meetings. There's none. Item 9, resolutions, decisions taken by the executive, mayor under delegated authority. There's none. Item 10, motions or proposals deferred from previous meetings. There's none. Item 11, new motions, 11.1, 11.1.1. The motion received from Councillor E. Buzak for submission to the ordinary council meeting scheduled for 19 September 2019 regarding the unacceptable state of affairs and living conditions at Rosedale TRA. This motion was withdrawn.
Van inligting, Mr. Speaker.
Councillor Harris.
Ek wil net weet wat is die redes dat Mr. Busak hierdie netelige kwessie teruggetrek het?
Chief Whip.
Thank you, Chair. It was told to me by the councillor that it was being dealt with administratively. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Item 11.2, motions of exigency. There's none. I'm not aware of any motions of exigency, Alderman. Are there any motions of exigency? Thank you. There's nothing. Councillor James.
Enkosi Somlomo. Ingxaki esimelene nayo thina ethema lethu. Dinengxaki enzima malunga newadi yakwa 21. Kumba wamatyotyombe agcwalise indawo yonke. Kwa imihlaba abantwana abanazindawo zokudlala. Akho ndawo zesoka, akho ndawo zerugby. Imihlaba ithathiwe yonke. Xa sisiza kumasipala sizochaza into kokuba iyaphela imihlaba kwa 21. Akukho namnye umuntu othatha inxaxheba ngalonto. Base basixelele uMr Apples into kokuba akhona banawuyenza. Ngoku lide elithuba aba bantu behlala phaya abanikwazi inkonzo. Into abayenzayo ngoku aba bantu baplena into kokuba mabenze itoyitoyi for oceba. Besiza uba bezofuna inkonzo kumndinguceba. Phezu kokuba aba bantu beyekwe ngumasipala into kokuba mabahlale phaya. so ndiyakhala ngaloo nto leyo. Umasipala makayiphendule ngokwakhe laa nto yalamatyotyombe mangaka yakawa-21.
Thank you, Councillor James. Who's against your motion, Councillor? Councillor Royland? Will the House allow the motion? Chief Whip?
Just point of clarity, Chair. Can I just understand clearly? I was trying to follow and it's a bit distracting. Is the councillor asking that she simply wants a motion to be passed for the municipality to come and give feedback in Ward 21 as to the problems that they're experiencing? I just need to have the essence of the motion, please.
Councillor James, can you respond, please?
The motion hasn't been tabled, Speaker. It's just the motion hasn't been tabled.
I'm just asking for clarity on what exactly the motion is as per the request of the Chief Whip. I've asked whether the motion is allowed or not, but in order for that to happen, we need to know what the motion is about. We all need to understand. Well, I'm sure the Chief Whip wouldn't have asked if she did understood. Councillor James?
Ndifuna ixoxe lento kuba ndisithi ingxaki into enzekayo phaya kwa 21 unobangela ndifuna uba mayixoxe andifuni into kokuba makuqhubekeke njengento yayekwayo yaseGushindoda kwaqhuma itoyitoyi kwapheliswa izinto zethu ethemba lethu kufuneka into kokuba makutshiswe izikolo zethu neentoni ndifuna kuxoxwe.
Councillor James, there was no translation. Can we please get translation? Can we please get translation? Order, please. Order, please. Order. There is translation now. Can I ask the translators to start again? Thank you. Thank you. Chief Whip, are you satisfied?
Not really, Speaker, because I still don't know exactly what result the councillor would like from her motion. That's why I asked, does she just want feedback or does she want specific actions to be taken? So I just need to understand what exactly she wants this motion, what must be the outcome of the motion?
Order. 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 Councillor Nusana, you had your hand up?
Okay, you can let the Chief Whip speak first.
Thank you.
Councillor Jantjies Koosman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, the motion, like all other motions, needs to be tabled and deliberated. The councillor just stated a motion. As to what the end result will be, it will come out of the debate that we debate here. So I don't understand the question of the Chief Whip.
The motion hasn't been tabled.
Will the House allow the motion? The motion is allowed. I think the councillor has stated her points, or do you wish to elaborate on that, councillor?
Enkosi somlomo. Ndiyaqona ke okungumuntu umamele. Ndithi ingxaki esinayo ethemba lethu ngumba wamatyotyombe amaninzi. Umasipali lo uwayekayo into kokuba abantu mabaqhubekeke besakha. Babe abantu besakha akusekho namabala akhoyo kwa 21. Kukho iingingqi ezintsha ezisanda ukungena. Sinendawo ekuthiwa yibhekela hagu. Sinendawo ekuthiwa yiGenesis. Sinendawo ekuthiwa yiRobben Island. Sinenye ngoku indawo very entsha eyokhiwayo. Seyesacela into kokuba umasipala makangenelele kuba sisazi into kokuba abantu abaphaya bazawubuya bazofuna inkonzo kuthi. aba bantu ke umasipala bayekileyo phaya bajikile ngoku bafuna inkonzo bayazitsalela imibane bafuna ngoku itoilet bafuna amanzi la umasipala sasimxelele ngawo kwakuqala into kokuba makazame acuthe laa nto yenzekayo yala matyotyombe okanye ke ufuna kwenzeke okuya kwakwenzeke eGusindoda okokuba makusoloko kusiliwa ethemba lethu njengoba kaloku esazi into ethi abantu bethu ukuba abahoywa babalekela kwiitoyitoyi funeka kutshiswe amaholo wethu funeka kubethwe iirobhots zethu funeka kutshiswe iikontrakti zethu ukuze umasipali aphakame so yile nto ndisithi makakaphakame ke umasipali ayokujonga laa nto iqhubekayo kwa-Ward 21 enkosi.
Thank you, Councillor James. Is the motion opposed or unopposed? Mayor?
Mr. Speaker, from the side of the DA, it's going to be unopposed because we feel that these are all issues that the Housing Directorate is busy addressing as it is, and we'd like to appeal to them then just to make sure that the necessary attention is given. And that is my regard from the DA as well as from the side of the Mayor. Thank you, Speaker. Unopposed.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Councillor Jantjies Guzman.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, we will not force matters here that the motion must be debated. But the councillor is bringing forth very, very, very serious issues because she is in danger. When the people they go straight to her house, and the officials are at their own houses. So she is not safe. She seeks a remedy for this situation, and there's a hole in that wall that was burned down last year already. That wall has not been built yet, and also another toilet that can come here again at that ward will endanger the lives of the councillors in Timberlake, and we don't know what is this, because this puts our lives in danger. So it is very serious. So I don't understand why we don't want to.
The motion, thank you, Councillor Jantjies Guzman. The motion is unopposed and it therefore carries. Thank you. Councillor Langa, sorry.
Mr. Speaker, there's some correction to be made here. I'm very concerned about the response
Councillor Langa, we have debated this motion now. Not debated. The motion is unopposed. A motion carries, and I'm sure it will receive the attention.
Okay, but Speaker, there's a grave concern here. It's fine. You can rule me out, but there's a grave concern here. What the Chief Whip is saying about the attention that is being given by Human Settlements Department is not true.
Councillor Langa.
That is why we continuously have our areas being invaded and all of that. And our lives in the process are being endangered. It's not correct, Mr. Speaker, to give such information as if now all is well.
Councillor Langa, the matter is on record. The matter is on record now.
As being corrected, Mr. Speaker. That's not being attended to.
It's on record what the Chief Whip has said, and I'm sure attention will be paid to it. Thank you. We move to item 12 on the agenda, matters at the discretion of the Speaker. I'm going to give the Municipal Manager the opportunity to respond as far as the pit toilets are concerned. Mr. Botha.
Thank you, Speaker. It just in terms of the comment that Councillor Harris made earlier regarding the pit latrines, and that has to do with dignity and humane living conditions of people. So as far as we're concerned, we don't know about any pit latrines, and we have made it our purpose to eradicate pit latrines. So if there's any pit latrines that Councillor Harris know of, he must let us know so that we can send officials out to those addresses and preferably or most likely attempt to replace those. If it's on private property, then there's certain issues that we need to deal with, and we need to contact the private property owners then. But other than that, on municipal land, there is no pit latrines that we are aware of. Only that, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Botha. We move to item 13, urgent matters by the Municipal Manager. Councillor Willemse.
Speaker, baie dankie. Wil u asseblief die 30 minute caucus grant asseblief? Asseblief.
It's in order, Councillor Willemse. Please be back by 12 o'clock, Councillor Willemse. On the clock behind you. Please be back by 12 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you. Order. Councillors, please take your seats. Councillors, please take your seats. Councillors, I'm going to proceed now. Thank you very much. Before we move to item 14, regarding the observations made about the alleged involvement of councillors in the Pakkersdorp morgue, I will correspond with all the whips, all the parties, and we'll take it from there. We move to item 14. Sorry, Councillor Willemse, you asked for a caucus?
Speaker, baie dankie vir voorbereiding vir die talk. Ek gaan Afrikaans praat. Voorsitter, dankie vir die caucus, vir die 30 minute caucus. Ons wil graag item 14.6, draft rental policy and management of unit for Davidson Court, die rental unit. Ons wil graag vir daai item terugverwys word, omdat ons in die policy wil hê dat in die policy moet vervat word dat een unit moet geallokeer word vir emergencies, vir enige emergency in die council. So ek vra dat ons asseblief net hierdie item eers net terugverwys vir die municipaliteit. Dankie, voorsitter. Dan die ander een is in orde oor die direkteure, die raadlid sal dit so indra. Baie dankie.
Speaker.
Thank you. Alderman.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just want to ask if the DA will reconsider this, because when we did the workshop, then it was from highly important that there must come a policy so that the unit of housing kan optree teen mense wat nou huidig daar bly, want daar is absoluut nie 'n policy nie. And if I can ask Advocate van Skalkwyk, dis mos hierdie item wat hulle wil inbring of die recommendation kan mos nou gedoen word, dit is mos 'n draft policy. En nadat hy dan nou, hulle kan dit mos inbring en daarna. Dit is regtig van utmost importance.
Thank you. Councillor Willemse.
Ons verstaan die utmost importance of councillor Drag, of elder lady Draghoender. We will stand by our stand, we send the item back, and the item will come back with all the other relevant information.
Thank you, Councillor. We move to item 14, reports to Council. Before we move to that, I just want to make clear to all that we're going to finish the agenda and then we'll go for lunch. Thank you. Councillor Jantjies Gushman.
Speaker, before you go to your next item, you said in this Pakkersdorp Mall thing you will bring it back as a report to council.
No, I said that I will correspond with all whips of parties and we'll take it from there.
Oh, okay. Can you note it, guest speaker?
I beg you.
Don't forget about it, no?
No, I definitely won't forget it.
I think what we want is that it be minuted, what you just said.
Of course it will be minuted, Councillor van der Hoeven. It's on the record. Thank you. Councillors, we move to item 14, reports to Council, item 14.1. Appeal in terms of section 62(1) of the Local Government Systems Act 2000, Act 32 of 2000, allocation of earth 1288, Tembeletu, 1288 Nkakani Street, Tembeletu. Councillors, can we do this in the second and 14.2 together? Thank you. We then also 14.2, appeal in terms of section 62(1) of the Local Government Systems Act 2000, Act 32 of 2000, allocation of earth 11602 George. It's at 114 Scorpio Street, Ballotsview. The first speaker there is, Councillor Fry. You have 2 minutes to do both items, please.
Dankie, Speaker. Speaker, ek wil vanmorgen aansluit by die lieflike gees wat heers in die raadsaal vanmorgen, deur te sê vrede vir die huis. Speaker, 'n koordigter kom by my op terwyl ek die item lees en het roep my aan in die tyd van benauwdheid. Speaker, the Human Settlements Committee took a decision pertaining to ownership of Earth 1288 Toleria on 11 June 2019. Mr. Sylvia was very unhappy about the decision that was taken. Therefore, she lodged an appeal against this decision on 5 August 2019. She was in discomfort. Speaker, I would like to propose that recommendation on page 203. The recommendation reads as such, that 3 councillors be appointed to serve on the appeal committee in order to consider the appeal lodged against the location of the house situation at Earth 1288. Chairperson, Councillor Nakati and Councillor Ayona Krishna will serve representing the DA on that appeal committee. It's requested of Council to appoint that committee today. And yes, Speaker, al beteken dat van die oppositielede wat net een verteenwoordiger het, dit gaan nie vandag daai een wees nie. Die oppositie in geheel moet nog een lid gee om te serve op daai komitee. Dankie, Chief Speaker.
Fry, one moment. Are you... Councillor Fry, are you covering both items? Nee?
Speaker, I was covering just my part, but those councillors will serve on both of those appeals committee, all of those items they're going to serve. They will be, and the other guy, I believe from the opposition side, I don't know if they will agree that the one party member will serve on both of those items as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can the opposition give an indication as to who they would like to appoint to that committee? It's 2 appeals. But do you want Councillor James to be on the one and then... Okay. Councillor James, please proceed. You have 1 minute.
As the ANC, we nominate Councillor Bulelwa Plata to serve on this appeal committee.
Thank you. And Councillor James, would she then serve on both appeals? Not. Thank you. Councillor Clark.
Speaker, I second the recommendation. Thank you.
Councillors, I was hoping we can do this in one, but it's not. Can the ANC indicate who they would like to serve on the second one? On Scorpio Street? Councillor Inge.
Njengombutho omkhulu ke sizawucela ukansela siphakamisa igama lika kansela Nqamazana uJulia kuba uzawuphatha kakuhle lo mcimbi phakathi kwaba bantu babini beDA.
Thank you so much. On the first one, it's Councillor Plata, and the second one, Councillor Julia. Thank you. We move to item 14.3, Salga Women's Commission Annual Lechotla from 6 to 8 August 2019, held in Caledon, and First Women's Parliament. Councillor Struble, you have 4 minutes.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, and good morning, colleagues. It is, as always, a privilege to speak to this Council about the Salga Women's Commission. Mr. Speaker, my report on pages 211 to 223 is self-explanatory. However, I would like to highlight 2 issues which flows from my attendance at the First Women's Parliament on the 29th of August. The first being the need for the formal establishment of a multi-party women group at each B municipality. I am in the process of visiting B municipalities in the Garden Route to address all female councillors, and I'm truly delighted with the positive responses so far. I therefore trust that all my female colleagues in this chamber will join me on the 3rd of October. The second is to highlight the program at the Women's Parliament, which centered around presentations and discussions on escalating conditions of gender-based violence, which has now reached epidemic proportions. Proposals were tabled for submission to the Gender-Based Violence National Action Plan. On this point, I would like to thank our Executive Mayor Melvin Naik for going public and speaking out against the ongoing and persistent violence against women and children. I would also like to thank my male colleagues for responding to my request to show their solidarity in the media during our council meeting on the 22nd of August. Similar initiatives by male councillors have been shown in other municipalities throughout the Western Cape. At last, real men are now rising up and saying, enough is enough. Sekwanele. Real men are now taking a stand with women and children against rapists and murderers. Together as one. Simunye. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Strubel. Next speaker is Councillor Thiezi. You have 3 minutes.
Speaker, I don't know why Councillor Strubel reported on something but she did not send.
Please.
Speaker, in our last council meeting, the mayor promised that consideration to recombine the Salga Women's Group will be given at the next council meeting, which is today. Through you, Speaker, how far is it, Mayor? Secondly, Speaker, don't be so fast. Secondly, Speaker, I just want to draw your attention to number 2 under Salga Provincial Working Group on page 211. A water sanitation and waste management group was held at Salga in Cape Town on 15 July 2019. Unfortunately, Councillor Strubel could not attend due to official commitments in George. Speaker, we all know that we have 2 representatives here, but why you have to suffer because Councillor Strubel have other commitments? Where was Councillor Pungan? Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor? Mayor, you wish to respond?
Yes, Speaker, I wanted to, but Councillor Thiezi said I mustn't. I want to.
She silenced you then.
Speaker, no, I do have a replacement Councillor Mbete. I've stand down, but I didn't want to do it officially today because at the next council meeting, I'm still awaiting also some changes from Councillor Simba from the EFF. Councillor Mkondo also wants to be on other issues, and then I will also, but if I may say, the councillor that will replace Councillor Mbete as a Sekundi would be Councillor Ellen Loff.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Jantjies.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mayor, thank you for allowing the ANC to serve in that committee, but only I, as the chief whip of the ANC, can give you a name to put in that committee. And that name is Pumela Nosan.
Chairperson, I would love to see that regulation where it states that only the chief whip of the ANC can do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next to speak on this item is Councillor Mbete. Order. Councillor Mbete, you have 2 minutes.
Chairperson, thank you. I second my colleagues' sentiments both on the establishment of the multi-party women's group as well as really men now rising up against gender-based violence, saying #enough is enough. Sekwanele, ndithethela wena Phumela Nosana. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Mbete. We move to item 14.4. Item 14.4, George Municipality Cost Containment Policy. First speaker there is Councillor Vigeland from the DA. You have 5 minutes, Councillor.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Let me echo what they said. Real men will rise up, hence I'm rising now. Mr. Speaker, The Minister of Finance has issued the Municipal Cost Containment Regulation, Gazette Notice 42514 on the 7th of June 2019. The regulation are issued in terms of Section 1681 of the MFMA. The regulations, which affect all municipalities and municipal entities and apply to all officials and political office bearers, have been issued to ensure that the municipal resources are used effectively, efficiently and economically. The regulations cover the following matters: use of consultants, vehicle use for political office bearers, travel and substance, domestic accommodation, credit cards, sponsorships, events and catering, communication, conferences, meeting, study tours and other related expenditure items. Municipalities must develop a cost containment policy to give effect to the regulation, and this policy must be adopted by a municipal council and be reviewed annually. Failure to comply with the regulation may result in the relevant official and or political office bearers being held liable for financial misconduct or financial offence in terms of Chapter 15 of the MFMA. Municipalities and municipal entities must disclose all cost containment measures taken in their budget reports, and annual cost savings must be disclosed in the annual reports. Therefore, Speaker, I propose that the recommendation, as is on page 2 to 6 of today's agenda, be accepted. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Vigland. Next to speak is Councillor Nusana. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Speaker. Before I go on, I just want to ask one question. Have we finalized the policy before I can go on?
Mr. Mitchell, through the MM.
So, Mr. Chair, the policy has been workshopped, and we also did do the changes, and it is the final policy that we have tabled here.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Hendricks.
I see that this is the policy of the George Council, and I see they referred 7.1 to the Constitution as Act 108 of 1996. It's not an Act of Parliament. They must just remove Act 108, 1996, when you refer to the Constitution.
Thank you. Mr. van Schalkwyk.
Chairperson, unless I'm very much mistaken, but this is not the policy that was workshopped. There was a lot of amendments suggested, but this is not included here. Sorry, I only...
Mayor.
Chairperson,
order please.
Can I just say in here with... Oh, Mr. Mitchell is here. I think we should comply by the end of this month with regards to, and this is a draft policy, so it can come back, but we need to submit it to province, to Treasury, to say that we have a policy in place, but we can amend it at the next...
Councillor Nusana.
Honourable Speaker,
Alderman.
I want to say something about that. That is not, as advocate stated, the policy, but I will talk about that when it is my turn.
Thank you, Alderman. Councillor Nusana, you have 2 minutes.
Then, Speaker, if it's a draft, we can't approve it. We can just note it.
Thank you. Are you done? Councillor Harris, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You can pass me.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Councillor Kama, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Speaker. This policy, it might only help on in irregular expenditures on non-service delivered items by the municipalities. But now, since it's a draft one, we are just noting it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to speak is Alderman Dragwene. You have 2 minutes. 3 minutes, I'm sorry, 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Advocate van Schalkwyk is quite right. This is a policy that we workshop, and this is a policy that we bring all the changes into. Unfortunately, the changes is not reflected in the policy in our agenda. We were talking about this is a new policy, and we have formulated in line with the regulations to comply on due date as of the 30th of September. They mentioned that when we had the workshop. We understand. We had one workshop and there were a number of questions that were not fully answered. Die beleid het ook duidelijk inpak op ander beleide, soort bijvoorbeeld jou reis- en verblijfbeleid, jou voertuig, schemabeleide enzovoort. Hierdie beleide moet ook herzien word om in te pas by die cost containment beleid. Now we are also awaiting on Salga to come back to us about a number of issues that they have. Now, Speaker, the first thing we are talking about the consultants, and the first thing we mention dat consultant nie meer op 'n risikobasis aangestel mag of kan word nie. That was the one thing. The other thing is the vervoersschemas. We have got our perk schemes, essential schemes, and our ad hoc schemes. And that is about the tracker system. Now we can't put only in the municipal vehicles a tracker because the other vervoerbeleide dinge is ook deel van die raad. Die raad betaal duisende rande, nommer 1 vir die perks en nommer 2 vir die essential. Now long time ago, Honorable Speaker, that was beyond I think 2014, as daar 'n raadbesluit wat sê dat die perk skemas moes gehersien word. Until now, it does not come to this council. So yes, can Zanda then, because I called Zanda yesterday and the day before, when I get hold of this policy, and she was not in. Zanda was the person who did the workshop for us. Can she elaborate on this and tell us if that's all die veranderinge wat ons ingebring het as raadslede hier is dit die. We also want to unpack, advocate, the sports, what you call it, the sports, like for instance your OCC, like for instance your municipal officials, sport things. Advocate just unpack only the one thing, and that was for the OCC. Now in this policy also stated there are many things that the CEO can approve. Like for instance our year-end function. He can approve it. And then the other thing is I want the S&T policy to come back to council as soon as possible before the end of October. I thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Before we proceed, I'm going to ask the MM to just advise us here. Thank you, Mr. Botha.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, if we look at page 225, at the bottom of that paragraph under motivation, you will see there the second last sentence, as an interim measure for those municipalities that do not have cost containment policies in place, the accounting officers must issue communication to officials and councillors on the cost containment measures to be implemented in line with the municipal cost containment regulations until such time that the cost containment policy is adopted by the municipal council, as the case may be. And the above approach has been discussed with the Office of the Auditor General. So it seems in terms hereof that council may probably in principle adopt the draft policy, and then the amendments can be brought again. I would suggest Speaker, that the policy be adopted provided that the proposed amendments be brought in at a specific date and that the policy then serve in front of council after that again. There is a deadline, irrespective of what I've just read, that was in this case, yes, the deadline is 30th of September, but as was indicated just now, that the above approach has been discussed with the Office of the Auditor General. So if I can just hear from Mrs. Sanda van Rooyen, if she concur with that recommendations, Speaker. Ms. van Rooyen.
Alderman, I recognize you. One moment, please. Mrs.
Honorable
Alderman,
Speaker.
please. Alderman,
Alderman,
please. Alderman, you are not on the floor. Order. Mrs. van Rooyen, can you enlighten us? Are you in a position to enlighten us?
Mr. Chair, some of the changes that the councillors want, we need to discuss that first with council, especially the events. We're also waiting for National Treasury to actually clear out the definition of events. And the proposal was for the events that we have a list of events, so we need to go back to the budget committee, and there's a amount budgeted for events, and we need to clear out which events are we budgeting for, and that includes the OCC, the Ligispheres, and so on. That is why it's not listed there. I don't know which another question was. The consultants we cannot get rid of any consultants that is contractual to this municipality for now. So actually from now on we need to look at the all the contracts and also the rates and the hours that they are working.
Thank you, Mrs. van Rooyen. Alderman Dragmane.
But Speaker, this is not what we asked under. We said that no consultant moet meer aangestel word op Rosikkel. En jy het agree. Ek het telke male vir julle gevra, jy skryf af voor. Wat al hierdie goede inskryf. And then about the car allowances, the tracker system, you only want to put it in the municipal cars. And I said no. Or we said no, what about the essentials and what about the perks? That is also council money, but you did not put it in here. And that was my question.
Mrs. van Rooyen.
Chair, the tracker system, I went back to the policies, the tracker system, and there's a vehicle policy is only for municipal vehicles. It's in the policy for municipal vehicles and for the essential scheme. And then, what is the other question? There's no consultants working for the municipality on risk.
Wat praat jy? Wat praat
jy? Councillor Langa, what's your point of order? Point of clarity?
Mr. Speaker, based on the response that we're actually receiving from Zanda now, we did speak to this issue. I remember very clearly that the question of starting from the consultants, Mr. Speaker, we did say it is quite concerning that this municipality has got consultants that's actually working open-ended. We said those that are currently working for the municipality, their contracts must be brought in line with this current policy. That was the first thing. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, on the question of the trackers, we also did mention that nobody in the municipality can just come and claim money.
Councillor Langa, please, I'm not going to discuss the detail of the policy now.
No, but I'm just trying to...
No,
But
please.
she's telling us, Mr. Speaker, that there's something in the policy, but...
Please, Councillor Langa.
Mr. Speaker, do you want to force us to approve a policy that does not include what
we are not approving a policy. We are...
So why do you want us to approve it, Mr.
This is a draft policy, Councillor Langa.
No,
It's a
no,
draft
Mr.
policy.
Speaker, we cannot continue like this. We made proposals.
Point of order, please, Speaker.
We made proposals to that policy, so you want us to approve this thing.
Order.
Point of order, please,
Can't be
Speaker.
correct.
Order. Councillor Chief Whip, Barnard.
Speaker, we heard what the MM said to us. We heard that the MM said that this is a draft policy, that we can approve it with the proviso that the amendments are made. That was what we heard from our MM.
Thank you.
And I'm afraid that this is turning into a bit of a dialogue between parties. Can we address the recommendation and if necessary amend it? And then I'm on the floor, Speaker, please protect me.
Order.
And then if need be, we can bring the final policy with the amendments and the changes after we've heard from National Treasury, as Mrs. Van Rooyen said.
Thank you.
So I would recommend that we go with what this MM has told us. And I'm still on the floor, Speaker. I really don't like being interrupted the way I am.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Where is Councillor Viljoen on the speakers list?
Thank
You allowed her
you,
now
Councillor.
to make a huge inning, Speaker,
Councillor.
and I don't see her on the
Thank you.
speakers list, Speaker. Then all
Point of order, I happen to be the Chief Whip, Speaker.
If that is the case, Speaker, then
Order.
all of us can speak
Councillor Van
anytime,
Hoffen,
so we
noted.
don't have
Thank
to
you.
have a speaker
The last to
list.
speak on this item is Councillor Van Niekerk. You have 2 minutes. Order.
It appears to me that the discrepancies or what was workshopped and what was not workshopped, what should have been included and what not, is to such extent that no sound decision can be made on this policy today. From the Freedom Front side, I would recommend that we get the recommendations from the Western Cape or the, whatever questions been asked for them in further guidance, and that the workshop be rescheduled with those guidelines, with everything, and that everybody makes sure on the workshop that whatever has been workshopped and need to be added is noted, and let's get the final product then, and not a product like this one which is not the same. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Councillor Van Niekerk. Last to speak on this item is Councillor Stamella. Alderman.
Ek vra met al die diepte in my hart, hoekom is die veranderinge nie aangebring nie en dit was vir ons daarvoor beloof dat dit word aangebring. This is my question, Mr. MM. Hulle sê mos the buck stop by you. Now I'm referring now to you.
Thank you.
Why is the amendment
Alderman.
not in here?
Alderman. Councillor, wil jy iets antwoord? Thank you, Mr. Botha.
Speaker, Mrs. Van Rooyen just explained that she has given through to National Treasury that they must clarify some of the issues and definitions in the policy. And that is what it's all about. So once the clarification is received, then the necessary discussions will go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Botha.
Punt van inligting, ek het net op my hand opgesteek.
Councillor Harris.
Baie dankie, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, ek wil net inligting hê rondom iets wat nou uitgewys is. Daar is 3 beleide wat geaffekteer word, wat saam moet loop met die containment policy. Die een is oor die parks, die een is oor die SNT's en die ander een is oor die vehicle skema. So hoe gaan die twee met mekaar gesels as ons nou is 'n punt van inligting, ek wil weet, moet nou nie die vergadering.
Councillor Harris, if you read the recommendation, you will see the answer to your questions. If you read the recommendation, you will see the answer to your questions. Alderman Williams.
But won't it be proper, Mr. Speaker?
Order, please.
Won't it be proper to say, A, you rephrase it in saying that the draft cost containment policy be approved in principle, so that you create room for the policy to come back and contain those changes and all other relevant policies?
Sorry?
Speaker, that's exactly what I proposed, maybe just in different words, but that is exactly what I'm supporting.
Thank you.
What about your...
Chief Whip, Chief Whip, Chief Whip, is the recommendation to be changed then, to be amended?
Chairperson, all that I suggested is that we simply add what Mr. Bueta said. We say that A reads that the draft cost containment policy be approved, provided that the proposed amendments be included.
Thank you.
And that B remains as is.
Thank you. So can I have that amended proposal in writing, please?
Honorable Speaker, will you
Alderman?
please recognize me?
Alderman?
There's other policies like your S&T that must come by not later than the end of October, Mr. MM. Because, soos ek verneem het, ek praat uit hoor, sê hy, wel het u opdrag gegee, en ek weet nie wie toch opdrag gegee nie, en ambtenaar het net besluit, dit gaan nie kom nie. Nou, ek vraag nou, met trane in my groen oë, dat jy daai beleid ook onmiddellik sal terugbring. En kan julle die besluit gaan soek van die spaakskema wat 2014 geneem is, asseblief, en het ook saambring.
Thank you. Chief Whip?
Speaker, I am going to withdraw my amendment and I will then go with the original as on the screen in front of us, that the draft policy be approved. Thank you.
Councillor Stamela? You have 2 minutes.
Speaker, I won't say much. I will just...
Can we have order, please? Can we have order, please? Can we have order, please?
Speaker,
can we have order, please?
Second the recommendation.
Order. 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 Alder lady. Alderman, please take your seat. Alderman, please take your seat. Councillor Jantjies-Guzman.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, this arrogance that you are displaying here will catch you. Because the Chief Whip just corrected this amended this recommendation, and then again, because Councillor Dragoner added something yet, she's changing the recommendation. So that's arrogancy. But, guest Speaker, we are going to record our names against this thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Stamela, you have another turn. You have another turn. Can you please, I couldn't hear a word you were saying.
Speaker, I second the recommendation A and B, what my colleague proposed, Mr. Fichalan.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Stamela. Do you have an alternative proposal, Councillor Jantjies-Guzman? Thank you. Let's.
My name recorded against that decision, please, Speaker. My name, Peter. My name,
Piet van der Hooven, please record my name against that resolution, Speaker.
Thank you. One moment, Councillor De Tooy.
Speaker, ek vra net of hierdie verslag nie ook na impact toe verwys kan word. Ek dink dit staan so in die dokument hier dat ons dit nie daardeur sal deurtrap en ook 'n rekommendasie gee van impact se kant af. Baie dankie.
Thank you. Councillor van die Kerk.
Speaker, van die Vryheidsfront se kant af, as hierdie dokument eers na impact toe moet gaan, dan kan ons dit nie vandag hier goedkeur nie. Want wat is die doel dat impact daarna moet kyk en ook 'n aanbeveling maak? Dis dan klaar goedgekeur, dis mos dan mosterd na die maal. Ja. Dit dien geen doel nie. Dis die eerste een. Die tweede beswaar wat die Vryheidsfront het, is dat julle verwag ons moet 'n dokument goedkeur, waarvoor ons nie die produk weet hoe hy gaan lyk nie. Die finale produk is mos nie voor die raad nie. Hoe kan ons dit goedkeur? Daar's nou bespiegelinge. Dis oor gepraat, dat is oor gepraat. En waar is die finale produk? Hoe kan ons dit goedkeur? Dit werk mos nie so nie.
Councillors.
Dankie.
Councillors. The recommendation reads as follows. A, that the draft cost containment policy be approved. Order please. Order please. Order please. Yeah, we can all read, but we all interpret differently, it seems. We move to item 14.5. The opposition wish to record their opposition to this by naming themselves.
I record my name, Charlie Williams, against the recommendation.
Thank you.
I, Councillor Nomawetu Janjis Kushman, I record my name against this recommendation.
Thank you.
Igama lami nguThobeka Daisy ndingaphesheya kwesisindululo.
I, Councillor Helen Love, record my name against this.
I, Faith Mdaka, is against the recommendation. Ndinguntombi James ndingaphandle kule into.
My name is Councillor Pamela Nosana, and I'm against the recommendation.
I'm Comrade Zikilili. I'm totally against the recommendation.
Mna Julian Nqamazana andivumelani ne-recommendation. So isindululo. I, Councillor Budalwa Plata, I'm against the recommendation.
Mna Councillor Langa ndingaphesheya kakhulu kwesisindululo nesithatha apha singekho mthethweni.
I'm Councillor Copiswa Lesele. I am against the recommendation.
I am Shahid Royland. I'm against the recommendation.
Mna Boyiswa Henge ndingaphesheya kwesisindululo.
Hi, Michael Daniels. I'm against the recommendation.
I'm Alderman Mersha Draguner. I'm against the recommendation, and I've got my reasons why. Because we workshop that, we bring amendments, and the amendment is not in this draft document. Because if we today accept this document, then it won't be a draft anymore, then it will become
Please,
a policy
Speaker,
of
this is not
council.
time for a speech. We're recording votes.
Thank you. Order.
My name is Wilbur Harris. I record my name against the recommendation, but we prefer that it be referred to MPEC.
Order.
Ek John Patrick Buys. Ek distansieer my van hierdie besluit. Okay.
Thank you. Are we done? Thank you. Councillor van Niekerk.
Gert van Niekerk, namens die Vryheidsfront, distansieer myself van hierdie dokument dat dit vandag goedgekeur word.
Thank you. Councillor Nkondo. Order.
Kumbulela Mkondo from the AIC. I don't support this, but all that I would love to see, we can say in A that the draft cost containment policy be noted.
Order. Thank you. Councillor Kama.
Okay, Councillor Fuletu Kama, I'm also against this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we done? We move to item 14.5. Bridge finance towards capital projects funded from external loans. First speaker there is
Speaker, we need to vote.
We don't need to vote. We don't need to vote. There was no, Councillor, there was no alternative proposal. There was no alternative recommendation. Thank you. We move to item 14.5. Bridge finance towards capital projects funded from external loans. First speaker there is Councillor Nyakati. You have 4 minutes.
Thank you. Am I on record? Is the camera ready? Thank you, Speaker. I was not going to speak on this item because it's a straightforward item. But when I looked on the Speaker's list,
and saw Councillor Van Hoven's preparation there, I felt I must also write something now. I've got 2 pages that I need to go through. And I saw Councillor Van Hoven also memorizing his speech there. I thought, no, I have to say something. No, me and Pete, we are coming from the previous term. We are not new here. We've been here for quite some time, isn't that so, Councillor Van Hoven? Thank you. Not 20 years. It's you and Councillor and Alderman Williams, 20 years, and other lady that side. Speaker, this item deals with, actually it highlights 2 issues. The one is the, let me look at my notes now, because I did not look. No, nobody writes for me these things. You see, I write for myself. At least I as much as I work out early at school, I still can write. Yes, I have to answer you. Now, now it touches on two very important issues. The one is the issue of approval of the bridge financing towards capital projects, and the other one is the use of our own internal funds to do that. Now, this might look a little bit difficult, but it is very easy because it was already been approved in the budget process.
Councillor Nyakati, one moment. Can we have one speaker on the floor, please? Councillor Willemse. Thank you. Councillor Nyakati, please proceed.
It is as ABC as Councillor Guzman is saying that side. This has already been approved in our budget processes. Somewhere here in the item it talks of 144.6 million. That's a lot of money. And 53.4 million of that is a rollover from the 2018-2019 financial year, which was rolled over as a result of the PPFA audit finding by the Auditor General. That amount, those tenders had to be stopped for some time, and that resulted in the 53.4 million being rolled over. What else is there? You have to remind me. Come on, remind me if I've missed something again. All right. I therefore move to propose the recommendation on page 204. Thank you, Speaker.
You mean 284? Councillor Nyakati, 284.
284.
Thank you, not 204. Thank you. Next to speak is Councillor van der Hoeven.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to know, Speaker, before I start speaking, why did you wear those smart coats, the smart gowns, when the others were speaking, and now that my item came up, you haven't got that gear on any longer? Is this not respecting me, Speaker?
It's arrogance.
Yes, it's arrogance. Is that arrogance? Speaker, we as the official opposition are claiming that this as a major victory. It seems that our continuous warnings not to wait for the very last quarter before the implementation of the capital budget has made an impact and is eventually adhered to. Thank you for that, Councillor Nyakati.
Thank you, my colleague.
Take this, however, as a serious warning. This opposition is and will continue to fulfill its governance and oversight role in order to keep you, as the ruling party, on your toes, intact, and to ensure that real and proper and the best possible services are delivered to the community out there. It is absolutely the right thing to give a substance to the capital budget without delay, even if the funds are not availed as yet. We just need to double check when will those funds be available. Because we also need to ensure that we are affluent all the time. And talking about liquidity, we on this side believe that hopefully this is the correct platform to request comprehensive report on the municipality short-term and long-term investments, and whether we still have illegal investment by institutions such as Old Mutual. Please, Speaker, can we get such a report soonest? We will also be furnished with information regarding any losses in terms of interest, transfer costs regarding the Old Mutual saga. Can we request a comprehensive report at the very next council meeting? And Speaker, also the question need to be answered, when will our loans that we applied for will be approved, and when should that money be available? And in the meantime, if we use our own funds, how do we lose anything?
Thank you, Councillor van der Hoeven. Next to speak is Councillor Giereke. He's not here. Councillor Buys, will you be speaking?
Thank you, Speaker. Ons is recover, Speaker.
I beg you, Councillor Buys.
Ek sê ons is recover.
Thank you. Councillor van der Hoeven, your questions have been recorded and it will be responded to. Thank you. Next to speak is Councillor De Tooy from the ACDP. You have 2 minutes.
Dankie Speaker, die vraag wat ek gehad het is beantwoord. Dankie.
Thank you, Councillor De Tooy. Last to speak on this item is Councillor Cronje from the DA. You have 2 minutes, Councillor.
Sorry, Speaker. Thank you, Speaker. I second the proposal by Councillor Njakati.
Thank you, Councillor Cronje. Item 14.6 has been scrapped. We move to item 14.7, instruction sheets, council meetings, 22nd of August 2019. The first to speak there is Councillor Gultik. You have 3 minutes, Councillor.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to say welcome and greet everyone here today in Council, in the conference room, and of course on YouTube. I'm here today to present the instruction sheet of the ordinary council meeting, which was held on the 22nd of August in 2019 in council. I'm referring to page 318, 8.1.1, where the minutes of the Credit Control Steering Committee of May 2019 was resolved. Most of the written off amount was due to indigent, and as recommended by the Credit Control Steering Committee,
can we have order,
to be
please?
written off.
Thank you.
Thank you. Referring to 14.2 on page 320, approval of the Integrated Development Plan, our IDP, and the budget process, time schedule of the key deadlines for review of 2019-2020 and the subsequent implementation in 2020-2021 financial year was resolved and will be carried out in line with the stimulated time frame. Thank you. Last but not least, on page 321, 14.6 is the adjustment budget for 2019-2020. The budget for August 2019 resolved. That is formal budget tables to be updated with the adjustments and submitted to national and province government. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Gultik. Next to speak is Councillor Enge from the ANC. You have 5 minutes.
As the ANC, we noted the item. However, we have to emphasize on the importance of these decisions taken on the progress. Therefore, it worries that on page 320, number 14.1, as indicated in the progress column, nothing as yet on very important issue highlighted by the audit committee regarding the Caledon Street project. Question arises, just when will we get the report on the serious matter? This is of utmost importance, as we as a municipality are all over the media on fraud and corruption. Also matters referring to the MPEG committee. It has been a while since we received minutes from this committee. It seems as if it also went to Parliament, just like a former chairperson, because since then nothing was on our agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Ik heb het al gevraagd, ik heb het niet gehoord.
Speaker,
Chief Whip.
point of information, please. Can we please know when all of this was in the media, all this alleged fraud and corruption allegations regarding Caledon Street, and when it served before Parliament? Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Councillor Yankees, Cushman.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, Councillor Enge did not say Caledon Street was in the media. She said the municipality was in the media for fraud and corruption, and that's your brother that put you in the media. Sorry.
Thank you. Last to speak on this item is Councillor Stander. You have 1 minute.
Speaker,
Order.
on behalf of Council, I want to thank the administration for their dedication and hard work, especially when it comes to the benefit of the poorest of the poor in our community. I support the motion of my colleague, Councillor Gultig. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stander. We move to item 15. Questions, Alderman?
I just want to know when are we bringing back MPEC from Parliament?
Thank you, Alderman. We move to item 15. Questions to Council. 15.1. Replies to questions. There are none. Item 15.2. New questions. There's none. And now we have to switch off the live feed because we're moving to the confidential part of the agenda.
Before you switch off, in the last council meeting on Friday, it was asked why is this thing of the Brasika in confidential, and the answer was given that before it serves in council, it cannot go to the public, but it did serve most on Friday. Why is it still in confidential today?
Yeah, it's the minutes. Order. It's just the minutes. It has to be confidential. It's confidential minutes, Councillor Yankees Cushman. Order, please. Councillor Mkondu.
Speaker, I want to request that we also be provided with a full Brasika report. We remember me and my colleague here, we are new, so we didn't receive the ordinary report.
As you will recall, 15 days were given for the full comprehensive report to be compiled and to be distributed. That report will serve at the next special council meeting, which by the way is no longer on the 4th but on the 2nd of October, when it will be distributed. Thank you. Can we have confirmation that the live feed has now been stopped?